Hey, what's up everyone? Raging Golden Eagle here, having way too much fun as always. And as promised, today I am here with part 2 of Where Have All the Good Men Gone? Previously, we went over the problem itself. And today, I'm going to present to you the answer. And it's kind of hilarious too, because both of these articles are actually from the same site, and they posted on the same day. Sometimes I wonder if this was intentional. If it was, hats off to whoever over there at the Daily Mail planned this, because it was perfect. And I have to issue a trigger warning right now for any Western women that happen to be listening to this. You are not gonna like what you're about to hear. So either save yourself some stress and turn this off right now, or find a towel to bite on or something, cause this is gonna get good. British women are entitled and overweight. Seduction expert who's dated 200 Russian ladies says men should look to Eastern Europe to find a beautiful, intelligent wife. And before I continue, I have to make a little disclaimer. I personally don't actually endorse this. I think guys should just learn to be happy as bachelors. That's what I've been doing. But since guys like me aren't in the dating market anyway, this wouldn't be all that helpful to the 2 or 3 women listening to this now, would it? So instead, I think it's pretty important that I present the views of other guys who actually are on the dating market and are looking, which is what I'm doing here. Though I will give you guys one piece of advice. If any of you out there actually want to go overseas to find a wife, first off, beware of honey traps. I mentioned it a few videos back, but that pretty much applies to, say, Japanese women. While you're dating, they're gonna be every fantasy just to get you hooked. But as soon as you're married, they become your freaking manager. And then when it comes to poor countries, sure, you could go there and get married, but you damn well better stay there. Eddie Murphy pioneered this shit like decades ago in one of his stand-up routines, when he's talking about like going to some poor African country looking for a wife. If you bring her back to your industrialized Western home country, she's gonna start befriending American women, and next thing you know, she's gonna want half your stuff. But if you stay in her home country, the chances of her finding anyone better than you are practically non-existent. So at least you'll be relatively stable there. So that's my one piece of advice on that topic. Take it or leave it. But for now, let's answer the question of why are there 7 women for every 1 man dating in the 40 plus age bracket? A British dating expert, and by this they mean pickup artist by the way, has delivered a scathing critique of English women, and strongly recommended that blokes date Eastern European girls instead. Yeah, this article really wasted no time giving you the answer. Hell, it was actually even right in the title. The dating expert says that British women have become entitled and overweight, and firmly advises clients to avoid homegrown ladies and go for Eastern European girls, who are more feminine, well-mannered, and prettier in his opinion. And the opinion of pretty much every other guy out there, I just have to say that. And this guy pretty much actually put his money where his mouth is. He's apparently been a pickup artist for like a decade now, but he decided to go move to Moscow to find a woman, and he did in fact get married to a Russian woman. Richard, who married Katya, 26, in December last year, says, in my professional and personal opinion, I would recommend that my male clients not date British women. If you're looking for a woman who is beautiful, intelligent, and has good manners, then go for an Eastern European girl. Then he goes on to bring his mom up, and basically we've all heard this line before. It pretty much amounts to they don't make them like that anymore. Obviously my mother is English and not like this, but in general I think British women are entitled, overweight, and less feminine. They want a guy who is successful, good-looking, and chivalrous even though they don't have much to offer in return. Again, hitting up the point that I was tried to hammer home like a million times in the previous video. You have to be aware of your own sexual marketplace value, aka what you have to offer the other party and the value they see in you. It doesn't matter how valuable you think you are. When it comes to dating, all that matters is how valuable the other person thinks you are. And this is true for both men and women, by the way, which should be obvious. So if you have nothing to offer, you have no business making demands of others. And they want the man to be a gentleman even though they refuse to fulfill the traditional role of the woman in the household and take care of their looks. English women just think they deserve to be with a man like that. And fuck, ain't that the truth? All this talk about breaking away from traditional gender norms, and women still expect traditional men, while at the same time they are not willing to be traditional ladies in return. I guess there's another piece of advice from me right there. Ladies, if you want a traditional man, you better be a traditional woman. If you're not willing to do that, you have no business demanding a traditional man. I've met so many successful, nice British guys who are struggling to find a girlfriend in the UK dating scene, because English women are looking for too much. They're too confused and they don't make pleasant wives. Yeah, we pretty much saw that firsthand in the previous video, didn't we? And remember in the previous one how that delusional woman was all mad that these guys think they don't have to do all of these things just because they can get younger women? Well, I'm sorry, but that's just reality. For me though, women in Russia are the whole package. You can go to Russia and easily find a woman who looks like a supermodel, has a master's degree, and can play the violin at the same time. And probably will be more than happy with your mid-5-figure salary too. If you happen to be one of those guys who can't be happy single and must have a woman, which would you rather have? A woman like this Russian lady that was just described? Or, well, your options here in the West. And if you're one of those women wondering where all the good men have gone, funny enough, they've gone to where the good women are. So if you can't seem to find a good man, well, maybe you should stop to think about why that is. And this guy's got a message for you too. Of course, I think British women should change. They could learn a lot from Russian girls on how to be attractive and beautiful, not just in looks, but also in behavior. Yeah, I will say that is a big one right there. If your only options are a bunch of women who are aspiring to look and act like men, you pretty much have to be gay to be attracted to that. And now we're going to compare this pickup artist who's almost 40 years old to those 40-plus-year-old women we were talking about last time, and you'll notice a similar attitude at first. By my 30s, I wanted to get married and meet someone who I wanted to settle down with, but I wasn't finding the right girl in Britain and was wondering whether I needed to lower my standards to find a long-term partner. Sounds familiar again, right? That was a similar sentiment to the more reasonable women in the article from last video. The big difference here though is he realized, no, I don't need to lower my standards. I'll just go somewhere else where they actually meet my standards. So take note of that, women. This guy was able to move to a place where he can find exactly what he was looking for. Maybe you just gotta be willing to do the same. I'm sure there's plenty of decent men in poor countries that wouldn't mind you being their sugar mamas. And it's not just this one pickup artist and his clients. Richard has seen a movement amongst successful British men who are traveling to Eastern Europe, particularly Russia, to meet their future wives. He explains, in recent years, there does seem to be a movement towards Eastern European women. There's a rise of wealthy male entrepreneurs, aka the type of man most of these women would be hunting for, mind you, who are unsatisfied with their love life in the UK and realize that the solution is to go to Russia where it's just easier for them to meet the best women. Now again, let's think back to the previous video again. Remember how the author of that article was going on about how men need to change their standards, and they need to be more open to dating women in their own countries of their own age range? And I pretty much said even then, no they don't. We're not the ones with the problem, you are. And this article here proves it. This guy could have settled for less, but he didn't. He went somewhere else where he can actually get the best, and he got it. At least until he gets divorced, but for what we know, that might not happen, so I'm going to try to keep my own bias out of this one, other than just a few snide comments here or there. I believe any British guy who likes traditional family values, beauty, and femininity should go for an Eastern European woman. Although if a guy wants a wife to drink beer with, watch football with, and generally be one of the lads with, then don't go for a Russian girl. Hell, you could find plenty of that here in the West. And obviously this guy is British and he's talking specifically about British men, but you could replace Britain with literally any other first world Western feminist-infested country. It applies universally. So, for the men living in these countries, if you must be with a woman, you know that there are better options overseas. And for the women, you know what you're competing with. So you either have to adapt yourself or just come to terms with being single. 'Cause this here is the answer you're looking for. Where have all the good men gone? Why, to where the good women are, of course. And that's all I gotta say, guys. Thanks for listening.